business and rights of the PGA Tour and DP World Tour into a new, collectively owned, for-profit entity to ensure that all stakeholders benefit from a model that delivers maximum excitement and competition among the game's best players. And they should have probably added week in and week out, because I think the fragmentation, we're not seeing a lot of the game's best players because they've gone on to the LIV Tour.
That is correct.
And you're seeing a bunch of other players on the PGA Tour, and the only time we're seeing all of them together is in the majors. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of the things that have dispelled are those particular scenarios. Now, it also goes on to says, after 2 years, let me start here. The three tours said they will work cooperatively and in a good faith to establish a fair and objective process for any players who desire to reapply membership with the PGA Tour and DP World Tour following the completion of the 2023 season.
And with that, we say hello to the 1996 British Open champion and PGA Champions Tour player. Tom Lehman is our guest. Tom, it's Jimmy B and Manuch, Rockin' Manuch with Jimmy B, Fox Sports 910. How are you, pal?
Yeah, doing great. It's good to be with you guys.
Always, and thank you on such short notice for taking time with us. But this story, I think, just stunned the sports world because these two entities made it look like they absolutely despised each other, and here they are now, happy bedfellows. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how happy, but bedfellows for sure, seemingly. A lot of unknowns, obviously. I read all the information that's been put out in articles, like everybody else has, and it's like a letter of intent, so to speak, trying to work out the details later. But it sure has been a bit of a haymaker, especially to those players on the PGA Tour who have stuck by the tour, passed up a lot of money, been loyal to the ideal of the tour, and now are looking at potentially having to let these guys back in the fold. That's a pretty tough and bitter pill to swallow, among many other things.
Interesting, Tom, because as you read the whole article, the one thing that stuck out in my mind, as a matter of fact, about 2 or 3 months ago, I mentioned here with Jimmy and Rock and myself, I said, I could possibly see a merger and threw that on the table, because when the lawsuit started to fly from the LIV Golf Tour, Phil Mickelson et al., I just went, wow, this sounds like something that's not going down. It's going down a bad rabbit hole, let's put that per se. But the circuits, they say this very specifically, the circuit said the agreement ends all pending litigation between the parties. Do you think that was a catalyst to make this happen or not?
Oh, I'm sure it was a huge part of it. Maybe not all of it, but a huge part of it. Maybe a way for both parties to get out of a difficult situation. But it's, as going into Iraq back in the day when they first went into Iraq, how the hell do you get out?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with when the LIV guys all took off for LIV. How the hell do you let them back?
Yeah.
How do they get back in without pissing off the rest of the tour? So it's, I think they're, maybe solving one problem and creating another. It's, I'm going to wait for the details to show up to see exactly what's going to happen. But right now, I know there's a lot of unhappy campers.
Oh, I'm sure there's no question about that the guys, and you made a great point, the guys who were just staunch and staying with
committed,
the PGA
faithful,
Tour.
loyal.
They were faithful, loyal, all of that to the PGA Tour. And now the guys that left for LIV got all that upfront money, and they turned out to be the winners in all of this. The thing that I will say, Tom, and then I'd like to have you fill in the gaps here for me, is that we are a capitalistic society, and our country has corporations that have businesses in Saudi Arabia, in China. I mean, all of these places where we have unsavory things take place, we still do capitalistic negotiations with all of those countries. That's why we are based as a capitalist nation. With all of that, with all of that said, is that something that played into this as well, is that the money factor is going to be so huge that they had to make this deal happen?
Well, there probably is huge money, but, and I don't know how contracts are done in Saudi Arabia, but I'm certain that Lay's potato chips, you know, they sell the potato chips to some store in Saudi Arabia who sells them to the people, and I'm sure Boeing sells airplanes to the government who then,
Right.
you know, uses them in for whatever they use. I don't know how many companies actually are dipping into the pocket of their public investment fund, of, you know, the private back pocket of the king.
Mm-hmm.
To me, you know, without knowing the details of how capitalism and business works in Saudi Arabia, I doubt that everybody is getting money out of that fund. I think this is something different.
Tom,
So I don't know that you can compare business to
Tom,
this.
with that being said, so what are the pros of this, and what are the cons of this?
Yeah.
What the pros and the cons?
Yeah, what are the pros and cons of this merger?
Well, for the tour players, there is no pro if these guys can just walk right back in and tee it up and play like nothing ever happened. That would be the worst of all possible worlds. I think Monahan is on such thin ice already, if not already down through a cracked hole in the ice, that would just be way too much to handle. So that, you know, to me, the details are important. The pros might be the fact that the tour, they avoid all of the rigmarole and all the litigation and all the stuff that could drag everybody through the mud. You know, that's definitely a positive.
3 minutes.
You know, everybody has their own opinions on, you know, the things with Saudi, and, you know, putting a guy on our board, you know, as a player director is to me questionable, but, you know, there's a lot of unknowns. So I think the unknowns kind of require a little bit of patience until the details get filled in. But I do think that from the tour's perspective, Monahan's on the verge of losing every player on the tour. They don't trust him. They don't have confidence in him. They don't respect him. It's going to be a pretty tough road to hoe for him.
Tom, how does this affect the Champions Tour, the PGA Champions Tour? Where does that fall within this merger, if at all?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a great question. You know, it's really no way to know. I think it's the least of the tour's worries right now. So, of course, us out here, you know, we just go about our business, trying to treat the sponsors well and make them feel like they're doing it, you know, that we appreciate them. They raise a lot of money for their local charities.
2 minutes.
The Champions Tour is going really well. So we just want to keep it that way.
And they just had a great crowd in Iowa at the Principal Charity Classic, and they always the fans show up for that tournament big time. Tom, I'm real curious.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do. I'm real curious your thoughts then, where you see reports come out. And you see Tiger Woods was offered $800 million or something, an astronomical number. And you see other guys were offered $400 million to go and $200 million to go. And they stayed. And you already referenced for the PGA guys, this is going to be a very difficult pill to swallow. In your estimation, could the Saudis come in and say, okay, since we're doing this merger, here's what we're going to give you. We're going to give you upfront money now that you are a part of this incredible tour.
1 minute. 1 minute.
PGA.
That just sounds bad.
Okay, that's why I asked. Yeah, I want to know. Yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't sound good. I mean, that. You know, the difficult thing for me personally is that it's already taken the tour in such a different direction than it's ever been before, and, you know, working its way towards a two-tiered tour, and, you know, and I mean, just all kinds of things that, you know, in 1992 or 3, when the World Golf Championship started, that those are the reasons why those started, is so that there wouldn't be such a thing as a two-tiered tour and a tour for the stars and a tour for everybody else. It was against, you know, tour policy to even begin to go that direction. And now here we are going that direction. So to me, the horses are already out of the barn, and they're galloping some direction, and you just don't know if you're the one hooked to the chain, whether you're going to be drawn and quartered or actually pulled in the right direction. So I don't know where it's going to go, but it just doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel right at all to me. I'm not really real happy about it.
Well, just hope that they can herd thoroughbreds and not cats, right? And that's kind of the whole thing.
Yeah,
things that get scattered in a herd.
And maybe it all shakes out well at the end. You know, maybe. You know, but you certainly, you know, like the PGA Tour and the world of golf is such a small little fraternity. It's like, in some ways, like a family, which is why people are loyal to it. I mean, they've been able to accomplish great things through what the tour has provided, which is just golf tournaments and, you all the things that go with that, and done very well. And you just enjoy being a part of that sense of fraternity of golfers. And so this whole LIV thing has been tearing that apart, and now the fact if LIV wins big in this whole thing and the Tour loses big in this whole thing, I just don't know, how the players are going to take it.
Man, thank you for your time as always, Tom. I know it was short notice, but it's a big breaking story. We always appreciate your insight. Thank you, bud.
Yeah, you got it, guys. It's good being with you.
Thank you. There you go. Tom Lehman. Wow. You can tell he's upset, Manuch. This is bothering him big time. Unbelievable. Hey, everybody, right now, how would you like to win a customized regulation cornhole board set? It's all brought to you by Wright Toyota. So this is what you have to do. Just text Wright to 55678. That's right to 55678. You'll automatically be entered in the contest. You can always check out more details at rockandmanuch.com on the World Wide Web. Once again, just text Wright to 55678. A chance to win a